Hello everyone, Sheek here with another Transformers review, and today I will be reviewing not a Transformer, but a knockoff of a knockoff, if you will. I did a video of pretty much this guy, not their individual components. I didn't have the time to review them all, but I did review Devastator, and this is a knockoff of just one of them. Right now I'm in Guam. I managed to get this guy at the mall. Oh, and don't mind the noise in the background. That's just a electric tea kettle. Anyway, yeah, this is Longhaul, pretty much, or Powerful Working Machine Dumper. As you can see, it is the orange version, or yellow version, not the green version that Devastator traditionally is, and they also gave him a different weapon set for the whole Devastator. But as you can see, all the instructions are listed on the back, so this is one of those instances where you wouldn't want to throw away the box. And, you know, there he goes to truck, and then or dump truck, and then he goes to his combined mode. Unfortunately, they only had 3 of them. They had, I do believe, Bone Crusher, Scavenger, and Longhaul, or I can't remember what they called the other ones, but they were something similar to, like, you know, Dumper, something very generic. And it was marked as $19.99, but at the store is like, I don't know if it's just for the Christmas and all that, but it was they had 30% off things that weren't already on sale, so I ended up getting him for like $13. So if he is, as I suspect he very well might be, a hunk of junk, it wasn't a huge waste of money. Anyway, this is if you want to count third party as knockoffs, and it is my first knockoff video, but I'm pretty sure this is my first actual knockoff video. So, let's go ahead and get him open. Well, I'm already in the process of opening him anyway, but it seems to actually be a little bit more tape than on some actual action figures that I've reviewed. It feels somewhat hefty in the box, so who knows how sturdy he'll actually be. But, I mean, never judge a book by its cover, whether it be a knockoff or an official figure. I mean, I've had some official figures that are pretty trash, even though they did look kind of cool to begin with. Excuse me. Alright, so here he is out of the box, and of course he doesn't have any instructions to pull out. In the back you can see Powerful Working Machine, Superior Combination, 6 in 1. Unfortunately, it does not say which number he is in the set on the box. So, one thing that would have made it easier to know which ones you're looking at, because they had a whole bunch of them, but they were all pretty, like I said, they're all just crammed in there, and since they weren't numbered, I had to actually look at the face of all the boxes I looked at, but I gave up looking when there were so many of them to look through, and they were just all the same 3, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give up on it. Downside of not having my Dig-It with me. Oh, and for those of you that don't know, Dig-It is pretty much just a tool. Also, a euphemism for someone who's also a tool, not just an actual tool. So, almost got him out. Oh boy, it looks like some of the paint might have transferred or something to this plastic, because it is somewhat purple. Okay. Let's see if we can get this. There we are. There we are. Got him out of his packaging. And, let's see if I can get him to stand up while I get his accessories out. It does feel a little bit greasy for whatever reason. Not like food grease, but like a lubricant kind of grease, maybe. I'm not sure. Alright. Let's go ahead and take a look at his accessories first. Here is something that I will not find at all useful because I don't have all 6 of them. It's just the chest for Devastator, but there is a flipping gun that could be used, I guess, if you wanted to somehow try making him hold it, or putting it on dump truck mode and having it like that. I mean, I guess that's pretty much what it is. And then here we have a sword with an extra long handle, which can be removed. It's just done in a gray silverish plastic. And then of course there's the rest of the blade. It doesn't look horrible. It actually looks like I guess a somewhat decent extra long handled sword. I can't remember what the exact term for that type of sword is. I'm pretty sure it's not a katana. And then here is a rifle from the looks of it, or some sort of handgun, automatic handgun. And it does have a screw in it, which means that it's multiple pieces, which means that it's not one solid piece, so that makes me wonder if they put more or less thought into it. Alright, and here we are to Dumper, or Longhaul. And pardon not necessarily being in frame the whole time, I'm kind of have my camera orientated the other way, so I'm having to hold it off a little different than what I'm used to. Okay, so let's see. Let's just, I guess, get a nice look at his head first. Move over, yeah. Done in what looks like a gray plastic for the front with a little bit of silver on the face. And then a whole section of translucent orange on the back for light piping, which is kind of nice, considering that it's kind of a thing of the past for most Hasbro figures, and it's actually pretty decent. And then over here, just black for the windows. That just flips up, and that's where you'd put his head. Silver for the staircase, gray for the grill of the truck, and then silver for the headlights, and then purple for the arms, and then gray for the thighs, and then the orangish yellowish color for the legs and feet. And then of course we have Devastator's crotch, and then the top of said dump truck. As far as articulation is concerned, the head is on a ball joint. It does do a full 360, up and down, a little bit side to side. And then for arms can go out about that far. They can do a full 360. Bicep swivel. Bicep bend at the bicep. This gets in the way a little bit, but if you probably can rotate this out of the way a little bit, but I don't want to try moving it too far because this is a knockoff. Don't know how brittle or delicate it might be, but so about that much bend at the elbow. Can go back that far, and he does have wrist swivel, although it looks like it might not have been shaved down properly, because as soon as I rotate it, it does start to pull the seam apart. And then, they did use some sort of grease on this, because it is getting on my hands. They probably did it to lubricate the motion of some of the swivel joints. That's my guess. Or the joints with metal in them. He does have a waist swivel, does a full 360. Does not have an ab crunch as far... Oh, wait, he actually does have a little... Oh, well, that's probably... Yeah, I forgot. That's actually for a transformation. But I guess that is a little bit of an ab motion if you want to have it. Then that, of course, moves up. That I do believe is also for transformation, because as you can see, that moves out like that. He does have some very nice ratchets for a knockoff. But then again, he'd also have to have some nice ratchets regardless, if they have any hope of having their combined form being to have any posability whatsoever. So you can do the full splits. Let's go ahead and get his legs back down. They can go about that far forward. If you lift up his crotch plate, they can go pretty much all the way forward. If you lift this one up back here like that, you can go that far back. And then he does have thigh rotation. And then he has over 90-degree bend at the knee, but that's also for transformation as well. But nice articulation to have, and those also move up. And the feet are on a hinge and a ball joint, so you can do a full 360 right there. You do get some excellent ankle tiltage, and that's pretty much it for his articulation. And before we go ahead and get him transformed, I'm going to go ahead and give him his gun and sword so we can see how that looks. So let's go ahead and stick that in his hand. Whoop. Don't do reverse bicep bend thing. Stand up. There we go. Don't fall. Okay, he fell. And that's another problem with figures, regardless of whether or not they're knockoffs, is that sometimes they really don't want to stand up. And then let's go ahead and give him his gun. And now he can go pew pew, bang bang, to, I guess, would it be other powerful working machines? I really don't know what they would be if they're enemies, but then again, this is a knockoff of a knockoff, so who knows? For all we know, these guys could be the good guys, which would be an interesting twist. So that's about it for his robot mode. Alrighty then, to get him into his vehicle mode is pretty straightforward, but I will show you the combined mode first, because that makes a little bit more sense as far as transforming purposes are concerned. It feels a little pointless as I don't have the others, but I feel like I'd be doing this toy an injustice if I did not at least show its combined mode. Okay, so first things first, we want to put away his head. Just flip 360, click up, close up, and then you want to get his arms out of the way, make sure that this is lifted up, this is lifted up. You also want to close up his feet like so, rotate around, flip up, close up, rotate around and flip up, and then as you can see right here, this kind of just unclips, and then you just rotate out just a little bit, rotate out like that, and then you want to flip this out, rotate down, and you want to line up these pegs with these holes right in there. There we are. And then you want to lock it into place. You want to put these tabs into these holes right here, like so, and it clicks into place. And then you want to rotate his legs around, like so, revealing the combination ports for the legs. And then you want to rotate that around, bring to the front his combined waist. Then you want to line up his arms like so, get him to go in, and just pretty much just however you can fit them, stick his arms on his back. I know that this is for sure a simplified version of the version that I got, but since I don't have him on hand, it's been a while, I can't exactly point out what all those differences are. But even so, this feels relatively solid. Although I will admit, with how stiff the ratchet is, which it does need to be stiff for a combiner, it does feel like a little like it wouldn't be very hard to snap this tab right here loose from here. So for a young child, that would probably be one of the first things that would end up breaking, as far as like actually breaking, if they ended up combining the whole set, if they were able to get the whole set. Anyway, let's go ahead and go from this configuration into his vehicle mode. So you just want to untab this right here. Just get his arms out of the way just a little bit. Rotate that up here. And since the arms are already here, just rotate up and then rotate this down, up, rotate down, and my fingers are getting all the greasier. I don't know how well you can see it, but if you look in that joint, there is quite a bit of grease in there for lubrication. I'm honestly not sure how necessary that is, but who knows? Maybe it'll wear down or limit the wearing down of the plastic, especially if it's a lower quality plastic. It would make sense that they might want to do what they can to prevent it from, well, deteriorating as quickly. Although I'm not sure what kind of negative impacts the grease might actually have on the plastic itself as well. But, oh, come on, focus. But then just, of course, put this back the way it was, clip it together, close down his crotch piece like that, and then, of course, rotate back around, and then like the ab crunch I showed earlier, which is not really an ab crunch or an ab extension, whatever the correct term for an exercise like that would be. Then just flip that up, and then pretty much the final step is to rotate these around, and as you can see, it just clips. It's not like fully around, which is probably a good thing. I can't remember if the actual one had clips like that, but so if a kid pops it off, they can probably pop it back on, depending how it came off. But you just tab this into this slot right here, which just secures it together, and then of course same thing on this side as well. And that's pretty much it for getting into his dump truck mode, and it is a mighty, for the size and the price, a mighty fine dump truck, if I say so myself, which I do say so myself. And then for storage, at least for this part anyway, you just tab it in like that, and there you have that stored. You can't exactly flip the guns out, at least not all the way, so I guess you can launch rockets out like that. Didn't say anything about the gun, but with this in the way, you can't really plug it in right there. For the sword pieces, at least you could probably make this like a gun, like that, and then perhaps store the sword. Then again, probably not. There's not a whole lot of ports, but I mean, it is a knockoff, so they're not necessarily going to care necessarily or make as much of an effort to store everything in vehicle mode. But I mean, you can do that, I guess. Or, yeah, it wouldn't stick on the other way, or wouldn't fit. Anyway, I could also do that. But then you just have a big old sword up top. So that's about it for the knockoff review of the powerful working machine dumper. I would like to say that he rolls really well, but he doesn't quite. This wheel on this arm and this back wheel seem to roll pretty well. This one, it seems like they would roll otherwise, except since they are plastic tires, it's just not getting the necessary traction to spin. But pretty cool. Other than the greasy fingers, I'd say that if parents are wanting like an alternative version of like a knockoff transformer that isn't a full-fledged third party and you're able to get a hold of them, I'd say that this would be a decent alternative. Although for the set of 6, assuming the 30% off wasn't like a just a seasonal thing, that would be about $120 for the whole set, for assuming full price. Without full price, probably around $80. But considering how big the Devastator would probably be, I'd say it's not a horrible deal, especially if the level of quality is for the rest of the set is about the same quality as this, if not a little bit better. If it's worse and they don't really hold together and they're just falling to pieces, then obviously I'd recommend getting them something that's about the same price range, or a little low or a little less expensive but of higher quality. But then again, if they're gonna just trash it anyway, it'd be better that it's something that's not, I guess, super expensive, like the actual third-party version of this figure that I have. But yeah, I'd say that this is something I definitely would have really, really enjoyed as a younger kid. Oh, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but yes, today is Christmas in Guam. It's Christmas Eve back home. Um, so, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and until next time, have a good one, everyone.